Welcome to my Introduction to Networking course, typically abbreviated ITN. This will be for the CCNA version 7 curriculum. Alrighty, so here we have lab 2.5.5, configuring the initial switch setting. So there are 5 parts to this lab: verifying the default switch configuration, configuring a basic switch configuration. That's funny. Configure a basic switch configuration. That's just the way that it was worded. Part 3, configuring a MOTD or message of the day banner. Part 4, saving the configuration to NVRAM. Part 5, configuring S2. So let's jump into the lab. First thing you want to do is read through the scenario so you understand what is going on. So read the scenario. Alright, I'm going to start with part 1, verifying the default switch configuration. So let's get into switch 1. Click switch 1. Tap enter a few times. We're at our user exec mode. Let's get to our privilege exec mode. We do that by typing enable. From there, you will notice the prompt changes from a pound to, from a caret to a pound. Can I That's what I thought. Yeah, maximizing it doesn't maximize the command, so sadly that's as large as I can make it, so I do apologize. So again, caret to a pound. The pound is our privilege mode or privilege exec mode. The caret is a user exec mode, so there is a difference. Remember, only some commands can run in certain locations. So what we want to do, it's step 2. Let's do a show run config. Show running config. Remember, if you don't want to type out the entire command, tab is your friend. So questions: how many fast Ethernet interfaces are there? How many gigabit? What's the range shown in the VTY? What command will display the current contents of the NVRAM? Why does the switch respond with the startup configuration not present? So, running config. Here it is. Switch mode, or the switch name is switch. There are 24 fast Ethernet, 2 gigabits. There are 5 0 through 4 VTY and 5 through 15 VTY, so that means there are 16 virtual terminal connections that are capable. As we scroll through it, yeah, there we go. So what is the command that will display the current contents of non-volatile access memory? Alright, so that command is show startup config. You could do show running config. That shows you the current running config, so show startup. No current config is present. That's because there's no configuration on the switch. By default, our running configuration is the default configuration. We've not saved it, so there is nothing saved for the startup config. If there is no startup config, it will load the default or basic configuration. So it displays the message because the configuration was not saved into the startup area. It's only in memory, so if you restart, any settings you have will be erased unless you save them. So part 2, let's set up a basic switch configuration. So part 2 is at the top of the screen. I'm going to tap enter a few times. All right, very simple. What we want to do is let's go ahead. Let's get to our global configuration mode. We do that by typing conft or configure terminal. So there's lots of different options. I'm going to exit. If I do configure, it will ask, which one terminal is by default. I'm going to exit. Do that one more time. I could also just type configure terminal, and it takes me right to the terminal. All of them do the exact same thing. So once we are here, we're in the global configuration mode. You can see that it now says switch, configure, and pound. That is how we know our current location. So we can do additional configuration commands at this level. So let's type hostname, and we're going to call this S1. And you'll notice immediately the name of the device switches. If we restarted the device right now, the S1 would not be there. Until we save it, all of the configuration is only in memory, nothing else. So that sets up our host name. Next, step 2, let's configure our console 0 port. Console 0 is our physical port that we can plug into. We can do that by in the global configuration, line con 0, hit enter. We can set a password. The password here will be let me in. Not a secure password, but that's just the password we're selecting. If we want, we can select what we want to do. We want to do it at login. And let's see if it works. So we'll type exit. So when we went to line console 0, you'll notice our global configuration dumped us to a sub-configuration of configure tac line. That just means it's a sub-portion of that particular command. So let's verify this password works by typing exit. Spell exit correctly. Exit and exit one more time. If we were trying to log back in through our console, we'll get prompted for the password. So, why is the login command required? In order for the password checking process to work, it requires both the login and the password commands so that they know where to actually prompt for the password. Alright, step 3, verify that console access is secure. So we're at our exec mode. Let's type exit. We're now at our initial login screen. Oh, we have a prompt now. It says password. I will type let me in, and we've gained access. Password verified. If the switch didn't prompt for the password, you probably forgot the login parameter. Password sets the password. Login says when to prompt for password. So you need both of those. Alright, step 4, securing privilege mode. So right now, if we get to our enable, no password. If we get to our configure terminal, no password. We can actually set passwords for these so that they are more secure. So if someone does break in, they have a few layers to get to. So in order to do that, let's set a enable password. We do that by, in our global configuration, type enable password C1 $C0. That's all we have to do. Let's exit and let's verify that it works. So if we do conft, no password. Well, again, that's because we have to back out all the way. So this would be like we're accessing our console. This will be the let me in, because this is our user password. Now when we type enable, this will be our enable password. This will be the C1C $. Now backspace all of that. C1 $C0. You'll notice they're not typing on the screen. That's done on purpose for security. Even though it wasn't showing that I was typing, it really was capturing. And now I have an enable password. So we've completed A and B. So let's look at some options. So enter the command to access the privilege mode. We verified. We can actually see this by doing a show running configuration for verification. So show run. Here is our host name. Here is our enable password. Here is our console with our password and login. And so we have it. Notice the console and enable passwords are both plain text. We may not want to use plain text passwords. Plain text passwords are bad. So, step 6 is about actually securing our passwords. So we're going to set a secret password. Instead of saying password, we're going to start using the command secret. So get to the global configuration, so conf t. From here we'll type enable secret. It's a secret. So I want to show you something. If we type enable space question mark, it will tell us what are our options. We could either do a password or a secret. So with the question mark, we can get additional help, which that was pointed out in previous labs. But again, don't underestimate the importance of using that question mark, because it really does help. Now that we've enabled the secret password, it will override the enable password. If both are configured on the switch, you must enter the secret password to get into the exec mode. So even if you have a plain text password, if you have a enable secret, that is the only password that will get you into the system. So let's verify. So part 7, let's verify. So exit, show run. Here is our secret password. Notice it is all gobbledygook. Our password is still plain text. That is a hash, so you don't get to see the actual password. So with the normal passwords, how do we protect those? So step 8 is about doing just that. Get to our global configuration, so conf t. If we turn on the service for password encryption, so service password encryption, that now turns on our passwords. So what we want to do is show that they're encrypted. Why is the enable secret password displayed differently from what we've configured? Again, secret is shown in an encrypted or hashed form. Let's verify that all of this works. The service password encrypt will actually encrypt all passwords. So let's verify. Exit, show run. Our password is now showing as a encoded passphrase. So it's no longer showing C1 $C0. They are now encrypted. That is because of the service password encrypt command. Alright, moving on, let's go to part 3. Alright, part 3 is about setting up a banner. Get to our global configuration, so conf t. So we need to type a few things. We need to do banner, I'm going to do question mark. That means the next part of the command is MOTD, or message of the day. MOTD space question mark. Line. And it says banner text C, where C is the delimiter text. You're going to notice this is the banner it wants us to put in. The delimiter text is the quote. You can use any special character. Whatever special character you start with, you have to end with. If you want to use that same special character inside of your banner, that's a no-go. So that's why you can use different special characters. If you want to use quotes inside your message, then you cannot use quotes as the delimiter. Banner, MOTD. I'm lazy, don't want to type out the message, so I'm just going to paste it. This is a secure system, authorized access only. Hit enter. Alright, when will this banner be displayed? The message will be displayed when someone accesses the switch through the console port. Why should every switch have a banner? Every switch should have a banner to warn unauthorized users that access is prohibited. I've actually noticed, I've actually been in this scenario real world where we didn't have a proper banner and someone broke in to our devices, and when we went to court, it was thrown out. We didn't have that access was prohibited, so the judge ruled against us. So now it's on all of our devices. Also, having a proper banner is important. Don't do a weed flag. Don't do something cute. It needs to say something to the extent of authorized personnel only. Talk to General Counsel and get an appropriate banner message. That is the best advice I can give you when dealing with banners and your equipment. All equipment needs a banner, and all of them need to be authorized access only. You need to prohibit other access. I've had to go to court, had to fight this number of times, and it has been beyond frustrating. All right, moving past part 3 is part 4. So before we go to part 4, let's verify. Let's exit. All right, so I'm at my user mode. Hit enter. Oh, look. There's my banner. Let me in. Enable. It's a secret. Let me in. Perfect. So now let's move on to part 4. Let's save our data file. We have to be at the exec mode. You cannot be in the global configuration. You have to be in the exec mode, your privileged exec mode. So just the pound. You want to type the command copy, run, start. Now there are plenty of ways to shorten it. You can shorten it to cop-rs. I do copy, run, start. That's just easier for me to remember. Do I want to save it? Yes. Where's the destination? Startup configuration. That's the default. Yes. Hit enter. All right. It's saved. So can we shorten it? Yes, we can. So shortening it, copy, run, start, or cop-rs. If we want to examine the configuration file, what will display the contents? Show startup configuration. We've already looked at that. Are all the changes that were entered recorded in the file? Yes, because we did the changes, then did the copy, run, start. If we made a new modification, then the answer would then be no, because we've not saved the new configuration. So anything up until this current point is now saved. Yes. All right, part 5. Configure switch 2 with the following information. So, I want to show you a simple trick. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a notepad. And I'm going to type just like I'm typing in the device. I want to do enable. I want to do config T. I want to type hostname S2. I want to do the access line to the console to let me in, so I will do line con 0 password let me in. I will do login. I will do exit to get out of my line. I want to configure a password, and then I want to configure a secret. So that's all right. I'll do enable password C1 $C0 enable secret. It's a secret. I want to configure the banner. So banner MOTD. Type in the banner. Encrypt all plain text messages. So service password. Configure, ensure the configuration is correct, and then save everything. So, you know what? I'm going to do all of it at once. RS. I'm going to copy all of it. I do this, I wanted to show you, because when you do this multiple times and you have multiple devices, being able to do it in Notepad, you can now change the host name and paste it into all of the different devices. Tap enter a few times and I will hit paste. And one line at a time, it copies all the way through. Oh, that's right. Copy run start has to be done at the exec mode. So I will exit. Copy run start. Oh. Copy run start. There we go. Enter. All right. Lab is done. So that is all I had for this lab. So it took about 22 minutes altogether. The Notepad trick will actually speed up your configuration if you get used to it. In the later labs, very, very useful. All right, that's it for this lab. Questions or concerns, please let me know. Thank you. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out. Again, with this material, being able to ask questions and discuss some of the topics in the lecture help build long-term retention, so do not be afraid to communicate with this topic. Again, I'm here if you need anything. Thank you.